Welcome, Bear fans, to the West Branch Bearcast. This is Mike Quinlan up at the Little Rose Bowl, Butch Peterson Field, talking Thursday pregame with Jason Miller. We are going into Week 5, more importantly, the second week of districts, and the Bears are traveling up to Dyersville to take on, is it Beckman Catholic? And
the Blazers
of Dyersville. So not sure what the weather's going to be, but we know the Bears got to show up and win Game 2 of the district.
Yeah, you can't just look. It's a game when you look at the schedule, look at the team and that they're playing, and they've not had very good success this year, Mike. Going through a good coaching change, rather. Gone is Mark Atwater. In is Cole Mather, not related to the West Branch Mathers, I don't think. But so with that, you get some kids that are probably not going out, but they've got a very young team. They only have 3 seniors that are really major contributors.
Yeah, and we've gone up there before, both in our district schedule and in the playoffs. And I believe a few years ago they knocked us out of the playoffs with a game up there, didn't they?
That's correct, yeah. Then they ended up going to the Dome that year and lost in the semifinals.
So they have had good talent. They have lots of athletes up there. But I think the most important thing for the Bears, especially since it feels like they're really starting to gel the last 2 weeks, is to keep that going, is just worry about yourself, focus on yourself. Doesn't matter the color of the uniform across from you. What matters is if you're going to hit them and hit the right guy.
Keep the trains running on time. Right? Who cares if you have 500 yards of offense or 300 yards of offense? Just keep doing what they've been doing, Mike. And I think they're doing things well up front. You're starting to see, I think, with the addition with Reese being back on the front, he's such a good leader. They've just got a lot of good senior leadership up front, and that opens everything up. And Brendan Dale's really getting a lot of confidence. He's a really good kid in the huddle. The kids they just have fun out there, having a little fun out there. Winning helps with that.
and the other thing that I think is coming to show is the depth that we have at our running backs. When you're talking about Cooper Gates, Aaron Marsh, Capper, Seidel gets some carries. The other Capper, there's a lot of guys that can carry the ball for the Bears.
Yeah, and they allows them to get a little bit of rest. You don't have to worry like in the last few years. You get an Andy Henson, 25 carries. I mean, he could handle it. But now these kids, you're not going to see that unless there's a really hot hand and it's just really going downhill. I mean, really straight ahead running and not being stopped. You're not going to see that out of this team.
And ironically, they all have their different style, and so that just makes them a pleasure to watch. But then you look at the receiving core and the emergence, Cale Seidel, Trenton Schutte, great hands, Jake Swisher, leading receiver, and now you add in Joe Heyman, who we didn't even figure at the beginning of the year, but he's turned into a great receiver, and now you got Holden Arneman. So, again, there's a plethora of receivers for Brendan Dale to throw to.
And in the preseason, you talked to the coaching staff, and they said, I think we're going to have the weapons that will be there. It may take a little while for them to develop with the rapport with the quarterbacks and the receivers and everything, but you can start to see that now as we get into the 5th week against Dyersville Beckman. Got to continue with that growth, and hopefully it shows up on the scoreboard with the Bears on the debit side and not the credit side. So.
Yep, and we're improving special teams wise. Speed is becoming a factor for the special teams and the depth. So looking for a good game up at Dyersville tomorrow night. So if you can't follow the Bears up there, come listen to them on the Bearcast.
And there's really one thing I wanted to mention, Mike, really quickly about Dyersville Beckman. What we've seen on film is going to be different than a quarterback than what we've seen the last few weeks. Their starting quarterback, TJ Tier, was injured in the first game, came back last week, completed 65% of his passes. So they've got a little bit of different diversity. So Bears are going to get a little test, but I think you're right. You're just hoping for the same thing.
Yeah, Tyler Bailey's defense is really starting to come together. They're athletic and they run to the ball.
And before we close it up, how about happy birthday to Mike Quinlan?
Oh, yeah. Well, let's see. What is this?
41? 40? Carry the 2?
I'll be 67.
Well, bless your heart.
Yeah, I'm looking at Crestview already. So, all right. Well, thank you, Jason, again for the Bearcast. Listen to the Bears on the Bearcast or make it up to Dyersville and support the team. Until then, go Bears.